I decided to record this video because ASHA was a dear friend of mine, and yeah, she meant a lot to me, and we talked for a while. For y'all who don't know, I am Mr. Aaron Brooks. I am the one that she used to talk to on a daily because I already had the lung surgery. I've been through it. I know what it's like. I know what she was facing and what she was going to be going through. She lost her fight, and it really put a damper on me as a person, because through not the grace of God and people praying and the donations and stuff like that that people gave me, I might have had her same fate. I might have been, I might have lost my fight. She was diagnosed long before I was. I was diagnosed in 2015 when I found out, late 2015, I think around about October if I remember correctly. And I went through the process of getting, qualified to have surgery and go through it and have all those things right there done. And I was talking to her the whole time because in the back of my mind I was scared, but I put on a brave front for most of my family and stuff like that. And to me, it was when she gave the breakdown of what people were going through as it leads up to this, of how it gets frustrating and you hate asking people for stuff and all of that. Me and her went back and forth and conversated about how we struggle. Then when she got her apartment, whatever, me and her talked about that, all of the stuff that she had to go through in order to get qualified to get her own place, and why she moved where she moved. She was closer to the transplant center and stuff like that. And I was trying to explain to her that, I stay 2.5 hours from my transplant center, so I travel there at least once a month now. Well, it's really recently it's got bumped up to 3 months, so I'm doing pretty good out of recovery, taking your meds every day. What people don't realize is once you have that surgery, you on medications for the rest of your life. Like, there's a lot of things that you got to go through. And even though she lost her fight, this right would have been some of the realities that she had to deal with. Me and Asha's relationship was so cool and so raw that it was just, we talked about everything. You name it, we talked about it. We talked about relationships, we talked about our parents. She knew about my aunts and my mom going through it with me. She knew the struggles that I had. And even after I had the surgery in May of 2017, it was a lot of struggles. I was in the hospital for a month. There was number one. I had a stroke while I was in the hospital, which really messed up my voice, and I couldn't talk properly. They took me to speech classes, and I had to learn how to swallow correctly again, and it was all kind of stuff that you go through. But every patient is different. Not everybody gonna have to go through what I went through. Not everybody's gonna have to know what I deal with. And I did have a mild stroke during the surgery that they didn't notice until after the surgery, when I started to speak and how my words were slurred and stuff like that. But I recently got my voice back. Not recently, but eventually, after about 2 months of rehab and working on it and them giving me blood thinners and stuff like that, I got my voice back, and we've been rolling ever since. I still have a feeding tube in because they're scared that anything could happen, and to re-put one in is a lot more difficult than putting it in the first time. So neither here nor there. But when they told me they was gonna put the feeding tube in, if anybody know me from Facebook, if you looked at it, you know that I was pretty mad. Two things I love to do in life, I love to do them. That's try different foods, different cultures, different things like that, and drive. So already after the surgery, you can drive for 3 to 6 months, depending on what your situation is. And then on top of that, I couldn't eat food. So my 2 worst nightmares had come true at the same time for us having this surgery. So I was grateful for the surgery, but I was kind of questioning, should I have done this, or, you know, because there was no guarantee that I was going to be able to do either one ever again at the time. But, you know, prayers went up. She stuck by me. She told me every day that I was going to make it and things were going to get better and stuff like that. So, with me and her, we just went through it. Then when she was dating the African dude, I talked to her every day about that and the struggles of going back and forth in relationships, especially when you got this condition. When you got this condition of fibrosis and lupus. I didn't have lupus, I only had fibrosis, so us having that back and forth and explaining to her what was the procedure and what I was going through and all of that made a big difference in her life as well as mine. So my thing is for her is I know she's you know what I'm saying, with God, and her spirit is living on. And don't worry about me, I just thought about something she said a while back that made me kind of laugh. But she always bigged me up whenever I made a video or something like that. She always shouted me out. If you go back, yes, I am the Aaron that she always talk about. I am the Aaron Brooks that she always talk about. I am crazy, but I'm also funny, and I'm also very, very real when it comes to life. It's no joke. Understand, people, we live for every moment of the day. Nothing is to be taken advantage of. I tell people every day, they ask me why I smile no matter what I go through in a day. It's because you saw that day. Remember, every day that you wake up is a blessing because somebody didn't wake up this morning. Every day that you walk out your house and you get in your car and you go to work, it's a blessing. Somebody didn't make it to work that morning. You know how many accidents we hear about on a daily basis? You made it back home to your family, that's a blessing. Hug your family. You made it through the work day without getting shot. Somebody going crazy and coming to work and shooting at the place, that's a blessing. Some people don't take time to realize every moment in life is a blessing. Going through what I went through, talking to ASHA on a daily basis, and now seeing how her fate ended up through blessings and all the things that we go through, there is so much that does not even matter to me no more. That I can care less about who did who, or who on social media did this, and how many baby mamas this guy got, or how many girls he got, or how many people done slept with this one or that one. It don't matter to me. I mean, it's drama, of course I like to hear it and know about it or whatever may be the case, but it doesn't rule my day. It doesn't make me who I am. If I don't hear no more drama the rest of my life, I wouldn't be discouraged. There's TV. I'm just joking. But on a very, very serious note, this disease is killing a lot of people. This disease is killing a lot of people. If y'all don't know, and it's getting younger. Asha was 30. I just turned 36 in July 11th this year. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, and don't think that because a person has the surgery and they're doing okay that everything's fine. Or even if they have the surgery, there's always rejection of the organ. There's always rejection of whatever be the case. With her, she had a lot of antibodies and infections that fought against her. And they can't transplant you unless everything else is perfect except for what you need transplant. So that means, what that means is your blood count got to be a certain amount, your white blood cells, your red blood cells, all that stuff comes into play. You know what I mean? You can't be sick at the time. You can't have the flu or anything, any kind of mild sickness at the time when they get ready to transplant you, because it's that dangerous. Y'all don't understand. Like, it's very few people out of, I say hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions, that actually get transplanted. Whether it's a lung, kidney, liver, heart, you name it. There's very, very few of us that actually get transplanted. So when we sit up here and we think that because they had the transplant, they're through, nowhere close. Nowhere close to through. You're on medications for the rest of your life. First of all, the first 2 weeks you're in the hospital, they're trying to figure out what medications work well with your body and how often you're going to need them. That's the first thing that they're doing. The second thing that they're doing is making sure you get up, make sure you get up and get moving, and you got to start walking again. Believe it or not, being off your feet for 2-3 weeks, maybe even a month like I was, you don't understand what it is to start walking again. When I first came out of recovery, I had my surgery on a Monday. I was in recovery and asleep, I think, until Thursday. That's when they woke me up, because there's so much swelling, so much stuff they have to wait to go down. They have to monitor you, make sure your body keeps fighting for you to be alive. Like, all that comes into play, how rapid your heart beats, everything. And you're giving your medications through a tube in your nose. Sometimes, you don't even know it. That was scary. That was the scariest part about having that surgery. So what she was going through was like, you're getting all these tests, you're getting all this stuff, and then she's still smiling. She's still putting on her makeup. She's still making sure that she's fresh every day. She even one of the funny things I made about, I messed up. I ain't gonna say I messed up, but one of the funny things I made fun of her about was the way that she wore her gowns. And sometimes she have me sort of like that Greek style with the one over the shoulder. I thought, this ain't no fashion show, girl. You in the hospital. And she laughed about it. She told me, I still gotta be stylish though. I said, I understand, boo. I understand. Do your thing. And we talked about that for the days. I picked on them for that. That was just our thing, And when we talked about relationships and the difference, how a family treat each other and how we treat our family, and sometimes we get frustrated because we want to go and we want to run, but we can't run when we're going through this process. She really, really made me understand, like, I'm not in this alone. It's not just me. And if anybody want to hit me up and talk about it, I can explain as much in detail as I can about the process. I was transplanted at Mayo Hospital in May of last year, 2017. May 8th to be exact was the day I had my transplant. And it was a process. And I tell this story all the time. The day I got the call to have my transplant was the most boring, lackluster, just nothing to do type day. I was trying to force myself to do stuff. I was in a sad mood that day. I wasn't up and about and ready to go. And I remember this because I drove that day. And I drove and I dropped my mother off, and I took my oxygen tank with me, just like how she used to do that all the time. I took my oxygen tank with me, and then I took it back up and put it in the back. And I set them right here in the passenger seat. And after I dropped my mom off, I dropped her off to a birthday party that she was celebrating with her friends. And I came back home and I sat in the driveway for about an hour. Not because I was sick. I just sat there just reading stuff online and watching videos, and I'm sitting in the car and I'm just doing this, and it's not even dawning on me that I'm sitting here. Finally, the ice cream man pulls up and I see him coming down the street, so I stop him. I get out, I get me an ice cream bar. I get a couple of them, matter of fact. And it's this kid on a bike. This kid had to be no more than 8, 9 years old at the max. He had on an old raggedy shirt. It was stretched out across the collar. He had on some shoes that was like 2 sizes too big. And he was riding on a bike that he could barely hold up. That's how big the bike was. If any of y'all black and y'all know what I'm talking about, AKA a hood child, just to let y'all know what it's like. That's just what it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. That's what he was. So he had $1 trying to buy something off the ice cream truck. And I had about maybe $1,000 in my pocket that day. Don't ask me why I had $1,000. That's just what I do every now and then. And I told him, I said, you know what? Whatever you want, get it. And he bought a few ice creams and potato chips and some juice and stuff like that. And I didn't care. I just gave it to him. And after he was done or whatever, you know, I gave him 5. We both walked away from each other. And I went in the house. Now, I was kind of sleepy, but, you know, as they say, when you're going through it, you get sleepy earlier and quicker. You may take 3, 4 naps throughout the day while you're going through the process. So I went in the house and I put the ice cream in the freezer and I went and laid down. I woke up about, so this right all happened about 5. I woke up about 10:30, 11 o'clock. I went in the kitchen, got me something to drink. Seeing that my mom still wasn't home, so I went and got back in the bed and went back to sleep like it wasn't nothing to me. And I got the call around 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. Dr. Alvarez called me and said, hey, we got some lungs for you. I said, what? You say we got some lungs for you? I said, okay. You thought so? Well, I gotta let you know they're a little high risk. You know, this guy has been to prison and he slept with a prostitute, but they're good lungs, and I think we could make it work or whatever may be the case. So we want you to come in. Okay, I'm on my way. I get up, go in the room. My mom's home finally. She's halfway drunk. Cause she had been out to a party or whatever. So she wakes up. I call up my aunt. She wakes up. We all get in the car. Head to Jacksonville. Get up to Jacksonville. This is on a Sunday. This right is May 7th. Get up to Jacksonville and they're like, we got a room for you. We're gonna take you upstairs. We got your own private room, everything like that. Take me upstairs, isolate me, wash me off, clean me up, get me ready to go to surgery. And we're sitting for all day. All day we're sitting in there. And then all day we're sitting in there. And then at about 12 o'clock that night is when we found out what happened. And they was like, well, we're ready to bring you in. And the surgery took, I think they said 8 to 12 hours, somewhere in between there. And I didn't know what happened until Thursday. And I wake up and they got me on, they had a tube down my throat. They got me on high volume oxygen. And that's what they had ASHA for a while. It was not the one where she had the mask on her face, but when she did a video, you could hear it like blowing like hard. That right there is what they call high pressure oxygen. They're forcing that much oxygen into you, like you're regularly breathing, but they're doing it. So that's our story. ASHA was the greatest, nicest, most kind-hearted person I know in a long time. And even though we never touched each other, we did touch each other. She touched my spirit more than I can ever admit. I'm trying not to cry because I have been crying, because through God, that could have been me last year. So if y'all don't learn nothing else from me, learn that your blessings are your blessings. Love who you love, care for who you care for, but live life to the fullest, because tomorrow is nowhere near promised. Nowhere near. ASHA, we love you. We gonna always love you. Your spirit gonna live forever. Because we gonna make you number one on the internet. We gonna make your story number one. I'm gonna share it as much as I can. I'm gonna share y'all memorial videos as much as I can, because it's a lot of people dying from these diseases. And our government and people outside of government really don't understand what the struggle is of people that's trying to just live, to just breathe, just to take another breath. When they took me off that machine, when I took my first breath without an oxygen tank or a tube up my nose, Lord Jesus have mercy. I did not want them to put that thing back on me again. Never did I want them to. Matter of fact, for the first 2 days when they did have to do procedures where they look down your throat to see if everything's okay, they had to wait till I was asleep till they put that thing on me. I did not want that thing on me, because to me it's like a string. It's like something holding you in place in life, and that's what it feels like. And when you ain't got that thing on you, the first thing I started to sing was, "There ain't no strings attached to me." You understand what I'm saying? That's just real. I was dancing and I sent her a video, and I said, "Guess what?" Because my voice is still high pitched because of the stroke thing. I said, "Guess what? I ain't got no strings on. I may not be able to talk correctly, but I ain't got no strings on me. Ain't that a beautiful thing, huh?" And she laughed and laughed and laughed. She said, "You got to be the silliest person I know." I said, "Yeah, I'm gonna be silly just for you." So y'all stay blessed up. Think about ASHA next time you want to get mad about something that you have no control over. And God bless y'all, and y'all have a great day.